Hey everybody, it's John Bishop with John Bishop Fine Art, and you're listening to Art Life, the podcast. Welcome back to the show. If you haven't noticed by now, I am sitting basically inside a stream, a babbling brook in the mountainside in Romania. We finally made it here for our excursion to Romania, and we'll talk about that in a bit. But found a beautiful, beautiful spot here in the mountains of Argeș, which is kind of in the south central part of Romania. So delighted to be here. So glad you could join us. Want to talk about some things today, and I have my notes available. First of all, the trip to Romania. We have come here, basically Bogdan, my partner, is Romanian, and we met here back in 2002, I think, something like that. And so we lived here a good 5 years before heading out abroad to all our various international posts. So this is where we began. We moved away from here because there really wasn't much opportunity for growth for Bogdan. And I mean, there's, in international schools, you just keep moving on. You don't stay forever. And so we thought that we would travel the world, settle down in the United States, which we did. Helped out mom and dad when they were sick. And now that they're gone, we're starting to realize that as we're now, 7, 8 years into our art career, our professional, small art business, that we're making a living. We're able to sell off the art that we create, and it's just, we barely make it every month. Now, presumably that will continue to get better and better. It continues to get better. It's always gotten better year after year. But we just were realizing that, we can do a lot more with our money here than we could do back in the States. And so the idea was to scope out Romania as a possible place to move and to center our art business. Even if part of the year we live in Texas and part of the year we live in Romania, how would we make that work? So that's what we're doing here. We're scoping that out. We have opened up a Romanian business and just got word yesterday that that's all done, and we are officially business owners here in Romania. And this next week we have to finish things out with the lawyers. We have to work things out with an accountant and get a bank account. And so then we'll be officially up and running as a business here in Romania. So, as we began to kind of look at this possibility of what we would do here, how would we make a living here? I mean, there are certain drawbacks that are instantly apparent. It's a much bigger market in the United States for art than anywhere else in the world. But we live outside of Houston, and Houston is not a great center for art. So unless we move to New York or to Chicago or even Dallas, many other places in the States where we could make more off our art, we presume. The problem is that, we can't afford it. We tried to look at property in Texas and realized that if we sell our house, and with the money we got selling Mom's house when she passed away, we still don't have enough money to buy something in Houston. And we would still end up as remote as we are now. And that's not workable. We feel that we are great and honored enough to have developed some relationships with some collectors in Texas. Walking away from them seems really dumb. Not knowing anyone here, we're looking at another curve of another 7, 8 years before we have collectors in Europe. So those things are quite troublesome to us because, we could live off just a portion of what we're spending in the States. We could walk away from our earnings as well. But to to put a finer point on that, we figure from the research we've done and the experiences that we've had, that you can live here, once you have a car and you have a place to live, just surviving here, you can easily live and live well off about $2,000 a month. We can't do that in Texas at all. We just got high-speed internet for his mom's apartment because she didn't have any. And we just had that installed this week. And for really, really state-of-the-art fiber optics, it's $6 a month, unlimited. I spent $140 in the States for, some pretty crappy internet. The other thing is that if we were to buy a piece of land, kind of in a small town, but just outside Bucharest, within like a 20-minute drive of the capital, it looks like we could find a property with a house already on it and some land, enough land for, us to build studio space and maybe a space for an artist residency or just a guest house, and actually move his mom there too, so that we can take care of her as she gets older. We could buy all of that, we think, for about $30,000. We can't approach that in the States. So yeah, we could live a lot less expensive here than we can in the States. So the trick will be, how do we structure a business to allow us to earn a living here, realizing that we're probably not going to make a lot of money off of Romanians. We'll sell in the rest of Europe. We won't be selling a lot to Romanian citizens. And so those are the real hurdles we have to overcome. And I will look at my notes here so I don't mess up anything. And I guess the real question then is, as we start to structure that, exactly what will our business look like? Obviously, we will be creating art and selling art, fine art, but we may have to do some other things. There may be some commercial applications of art that we might have to look into. We might need to look into doing more commercial photography and video production. There will be those kinds of clients probably closer to home than having to go internationally across Europe. And I think the biggest problem that I can see facing us, there's really three problems. The first is ignorance. We simply don't know what it's like. We don't know the way around. We don't know how things are done. We don't know who to talk to, who to trust. And that ignorance that learning curve that will ultimately and assuredly be there, we'll have to overcome. That may take some time, and you look kind of stupid. And in a smaller art market, particularly in a place like Romania, to be really stupid could follow us, We could get a reputation of being pretty stupid. So I think the way to battle that is to do the best we can, learn the most we can, and be as authentically and genuinely kind and interested and curious, so that we can learn as fast as we can. So that's an inevitable problem that's going to come up. And another, I have them written down, is related to that, is naivete. We are coming with great hopes and anticipation of making it in Romania and in Europe. And that might be pretty naive. And we have to realize that not only are we stupid, we're probably pretty unrealistic. We're probably pretty much dreamers in the face of all of this. So naivete will follow us as well. But I think probably the biggest hurdle that we're going to face is that of arrogance. And I say that not because we will try to be arrogant or that we are inherently arrogant, but I think that ignorance and naivete might be perceived badly by the people here. What I don't want to do is I never want to appear as though I know better coming from the United States, or that I know that the system we have for selling art or setting up exhibitions or hanging artwork is somehow inherently better than whatever it is they're doing here. And that will be hard, because I think that will be the go-to assumption by a lot of people here. You know, we keep writing to gallery owners saying, hey, coming to town, looking to see what could happen. Would you like to get together? Can we meet you? And no, they're not interested in meeting us. And that's okay. The fact that we ask may be naive. It also may sound arrogant, that who do we think we are, that we could just go up to leading gallery owners and knock on their door and be greeted. And there are lots and lots of levels of this. We have to face the fact that there are, particularly I think in Europe, a lot of the things we just assume are okay in the States, you have to earn in Europe. For example, I noticed that there's an international association of artists, and we want to join that because it will give us some sort of credential. We don't have art degrees. We're not coming from a museum background. We don't have great long lists of exhibitions through important galleries or have shown in important biennials around the world. We don't have those kinds of credentials. So this would give us some sort of card, some sort of credential that says we really are professional artists, even if we haven't gone through the proper respected ateliers in Europe. So I said, well, okay, there is a branch of that International Artist Association in the United States. And there's an application process. So I said, well, let's go ahead and start that process and see where it takes us. So I applied on Thursday, and on Friday I was accepted and paid my $35, and they're sending me my card. My guess is that in Romania, that's a lot harder to get into than just sending in your money. And if I presume that I can just jump into artist associations and artist groups and networks that exist for established artists here in Romania, I may look really, really arrogant because I don't have the backgrounds they have. So that'll be something to really, really watch. How do I become assertive and professional and I want to say aggressive, that's not the right word, ambitious in a good way, and not look like I'm being arrogant and dismissive of their system and all the things they've done. So I think that's where we stand. Let's see if there's anything else in my notes. You know, we are doing a little bit of research already just online. We're going to be in Bucharest next week, so I'll keep you informed of that. We've just been kind of here in a small town in the mountains, getting over jet lag and getting established. But I have been looking on the web, and it does seem like there are lots and lots of art organizations around. There are lots of opportunities. There are lots of art supply places, and they're about half the price of what I'm spending in the States. And I can probably find even cheaper than that. So it does seem that it will be fairly easy to step in and start working pretty quickly. And that's one of the other things that worried me, was that in the time it takes me to get settled, I won't have been doing any studio work for that period of time. So I do believe that we'll be able to get here. We've established the business. We can locate a place to stay, if not a place to buy, and we can start producing right away. And I think that's going to be the real linchpin for us, is not to waste time before we can get started. And I think I'm going to wrap it up here. I'm not sure how long I've been talking, but the weather seems to be turning, and I guess I don't want to be in a mountain stream gully in a flash flood. So I'm going to end here, and I might pick you up back at the house. If not, then I'll catch you next week. Have a wonderful week. Thank you guys for tuning in. Stay creative, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye now.